Community Matters.
Hello and welcome to Many Voices, One Community, stories that unite us across Long Island and beyond. I'm Gaitley Stevenson-Mathews. I'm so very pleased to serve as Community Engagement Officer here at the Holocaust Center, of course, where the podcast studio is located. And what a great treat it is for me to be the host of this podcast, and a special treat for me today to have my good friend Christine Rice. Christine, among many other things, is the executive director of the Glen Cove Senior Center. She's also the chairwoman of NOSH Delivers, which we'll talk a little bit about as we get into this. But here's the thing. This is where I'd kind of like to start, if you don't mind. And, I grew up in a little town in North Carolina, and demographically very mixed. But faith-wise, most people were Christian and most people were Protestant. And my dad, I grew up in a home where my dad was Methodist, and we always talked about the Wesleyan tradition and being a good Catholic girl. You probably don't know about John Wesley, but the story that they always told, because she had, John Wesley's mother had 19 children, 10 of whom lived to adulthood. And they always said that she spent an hour with each of the children a week. And I just think, how in the heck do you manage 10 children? But that was your scenario, wasn't it? I mean, yes. Not the Methodist part, but a good, Catholic Irish, which is we share some heritage there. So where did you grow up, and what was it like growing up in a family of 10? Is that right? Have I got the number right?
Yes, you have the number right. It was 10. We grew up in Garden City, Long Island.
It's like your own little city, right?
Yeah, it was a small little town when my parents first moved there.
Wow.
It's a wonderful town. I still live there currently.
Wow.
My daughter does as well with her husband and granddaughter Grace. But it was wonderful. We had 4 older brothers, and then the 6 girls came after the boys. So 4 boys first, and then 6 girls.
4 boys and then
6 girls.
6 girls.
All within 15 years.
Wow.
Yes.
And just so you all know, Christine was the, what do they call it when you're head of the parade?
Oh, the Grand Marshal.
The Grand Marshal for our parade here, our St. Patrick's Day parade. How many of your, so I of course know Kathleen. I've met your brother. How many of your siblings did I get to meet that day?
You got to meet 4.
I got to meet
4 of them. 4 out of the 10.
4 out of the 10.
Yes,
okay.
More would have been here, but they all don't live in New York. So the ones that were in New York were here.
And this is what I love. When I see you guys together, I see the family resemblance.
Oh, it's very strong.
Yeah, it's so funny, isn't it? How does that happen? I see it a little bit in my brother and I, but I love seeing that family resemblance, and certainly with Kathleen. I remember Kathleen, since we're here at the Holocaust Center, the Rabbi Rosenbaum.
Oh, yes.
He and I were talking about last time I saw him. He was here for our Upstander Awards.
Okay.
And I remember lots of conversations with your sister when we were doing an anti-Semitism march. And who'd have thought we'd be back here now again, yet again. But anyway, so a wonderful family.
Thank you.
Certainly knowing your brother and your other siblings, they are a joyful bunch.
Yes, we have a lot of fun together.
Colorful bunch from one end to the other. And what an incredible family, and certainly in your work doing incredible things.
Thank you.
I know I'm thinking about our connection. I know you certainly from the Senior Center. I serve on the board of SAGE Foundation, which is the fundraising arm of the Glen Cove Senior Center.
Yes.
And supports it. Certainly, I know you through NOSH Delivers and so many other things. You've been
volunteering since the beginning.
Been volunteering from the beginning. In fact, we're talking about you. My Thursdays are my delivery days, and I was there with oh my gosh, who was Zweigbeck?
Oh yes.
Sally Zweigbeck is my helper now when I do my deliveries. But anyway, a great day. So why don't we start with NOSH Delivers? Why don't we talk about kind of your part in that, when you came to be chairwoman of that? Certainly when back in the early days, I knew we were on phone calls at the beginning of the pandemic, and certainly through Courtney founding it. But to see that organization grow and in a way that is able to even more thoroughly impact our community, I'm sure there have been growing pains, but it's beautiful to see what you all are doing. So why don't you just share a little bit about that, Krista?
Sure, I'd love to. Well, I got involved through Courtney. You know, this was Courtney's brainchild, and Linda. We had started it at the back of the high school when the pandemic started, which we all had thought would last maybe 2 weeks. I had shut down the senior center. We realized that children were not going to be in school. Parents were losing their jobs. We decided we would just do something to supplement for this short period of time, which we thought it was going to be. But
and I remember the tents. We had the tents set up, you know, for when the rain came by. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yes, Linda and Courtney had it working like a well-oiled machine right from the beginning. And this community, I have to say, is unbelievably supportive.
Right.
I mean, as soon as we started it, people were bringing food, volunteering to deliver, trying to find families that needed the help. And at that point, almost every family needed help. Everybody was in shock at what was going on and afraid of the future.
Right.
So,
and of course, as I think many people know, of course, not only the people in need, but people who would typically be able to go to the various food pantries and such during the pandemic were not able to. So the fact that NOSH stepped up to the plate, and what I remember were the cars that would drive up, and of course we would ask them to let us just put them in the trunks of the car. That's what I remember. But there'd be 4 or 5 cars that would come up, and then there would be one that would be filled with food, dropping it off, and they said, "We just want to make sure that people get this."
Yeah, that's, as I said,
that's the
it's
spirit.
Amazing, really amazing, because we would not have been able to continue it.
Yes,
it really does. There's not many days that I leave NOSH. If I try and get there on every other Saturday or stop by during the week, that you don't walk out feeling just grateful, you know, for what you're able to do, and thankful that you're able to, and thankful for the things that you have in life. So it's all about giving back.
Absolutely.
For what you have. There's always somebody who could need something. And we're just so happy and proud that we are able to continue this. We'd love to be put out of business, meaning that there's no reason, that there's no food insensitivity, and not everybody is able to take care of their families. But as long as it's here, we are going to be here, and we are growing. We did have a lot of hiccups, unfortunately. We had a lot of different homes with the fire at the VFW, not only for us, but for the VFW losing their home. But thankfully, over the years, money was raised, and we're back there at the VFW, which is wonderful. They're terrific to us, and it's a great spot for us to be in.
Yeah. And I think a great combination. As you know, a good friend of mine early on, Joe Moores, would oftentimes, he was my helper.
He's great.
And our group got a little larger that we were delivering to, and in the end, we split our group. So now he and his wife take one end of it, and Sally and I are now doing the other one.
Right. And those are people from the very beginning.
Yes.
I mean, we've had volunteers who have not left.
Right.
They have continued, whether it was just 2 houses they delivered to, now it could be 10, then or they've realized that now we have the pantry. They'd love to come in and help with the pantry and stocking shelves or bringing in deliveries. There's many, many options for volunteerism, which is wonderful.
And I will say a similar feeling that there's not, there are weeks that I think I don't have the time. This week, I don't have the time.
Right.
And quite frankly, I've had the same route since I began.
Forever, right.
So, and there have been births, and there have been people who've passed away, graduation. You may think you're just dropping off food, but, there's one elderly lady who I live to open that door and see that smile. Yeah. When I drop off, and I just think for me, in some ways people might say, oh, it's a great thing you're doing. In some ways, for me, it feels like the most selfish thing in the world because it is such a gift.
You get so much from it.
Yes.
Yes.
And the other thing that I just think is beautiful at NOSH, and it's thanks to the people, but it's also thanks to leadership. And I'm looking at it right now. From the top down, that's you and Linda and Courtney and everybody over there. But there's such a diversity of people who walk in the doors who are volunteers.
Yes.
One good friend who I often like to talk about is Dr. Black, Barbara Black.
Oh,
she's
amazing.
She's just
She's
amazing.
amazing.
You know, the I thought for sure her PhD would be something like in social work, or she was like a bigwig,
Bigwig. I was just going to say that.
business,
Yes.
finance, and funny,
Yes.
and joyful.
Well, she's wonderful because she got us into the capstone project in Malloy,
great. Now, I
which
didn't
they
even know
just
that.
finished.
Right.
It was amazing. Those
Yeah.
students did so much work for us. We
Right.
gave them 3 different areas that we felt that we could use some help.
Right.
And their final presentation was so impressive. Now we have some youth volunteers helping us with those, and we're going to be implementing those, the advice that they gave us. Because, I mean, I can't take all the credit. The board is amazing. We have,
Right.
they were all volunteers. Everybody's volunteers. Most of us still have other full-time jobs. Some are retired. But it does take a lot of the time, but it's worth it. It's what we feel in our hearts that is needed.
Right.
And as long as it's needed, then we'll be there.
Absolutely. And I will say the Dr. Black, coming up, I can't share it now because it's just in the works, but she's also helped us connect to the Holocaust Center and also the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance. We may be combining with Malloy and doing some things
that's
that are
wonderful.
really very exciting, having to do with art and humanity. Humanity matters, and certainly fighting hate and anti-Semitism and highlighting some things. So she's really beautiful at connecting people, and it's because her heart.
Yes, because she's very humble.
Yes.
I didn't realize until I got into that final presentation. I said, Barbara, you didn't tell me what you did.
I know.
She just loves coming in to cut the bread, and she loves to be able to help, which all our volunteers do.
She did not pay us either. We love you, Barbara.
Yes, that's true.
So why don't we switch gears? So again, what a great thing that you are involved with, not only NOSH Delivers, and it's NOSH Delivers, so everybody knows, and noshddelivers.org if you want to volunteer or want to help. So head over there.
Right.
But also, I guess where I first got to know you, I certainly knew of you and your family and through Kathleen and such, but where I first got to know you was when you came on board to be the executive director at the Glen Cove Senior Center. And at that point, I was an elected official, and I think I got to vote to say, absolutely, bring this woman on board. And, oh my gosh, what a tough act to follow, because, of course, the former executive director who is very involved in the community and continues, where'd her name go?
Carol Waldman.
Yeah, Carol Waldman. It was so loved by the community, and your style and her style could not be more different. But what's beautiful is the engagement that you bring to it, and that you have so expanded the opportunity for people to be served in our community. And when I walk in that, if I leave, I've been so busy with things over here at the Holocaust Center, I have not been able to get to the center as often as I would like. But last time I was there were so many new faces.
Yes.
And in fact, not just new people, entire tables of people.
That's true.
And again, I often feel like it's so expensive to live here in Glen Cove. But if you can manage as a senior to live in Glen Cove and live on the North Shore and be able to go to places like the Senior Center, it's a great place to live. And a part of it being a great place to live for our aging community is the Glen Cove Senior Center. And I'm proud to serve on the Sage Foundation, which again, as mentioned, is supporting that. And we've got a golf outing coming up.
Yes, we do, September.
September 29th, is that right? Okay, September 29th, golf outing. And are you able to pull up both the names that we're honoring off the top of your head? I might need to look it up. I know Irma Genty.
Yes, and Dr. Kurzweil.
Dr. Kurzweil and Irma Genty, who is
Yes.
Glen Cove EOC, so make sure you get to that.
Yes.
But why don't you share with us how you came to be at the Senior Center, and also how the Glen Cove Senior Center serves us here on Glen Cove and Long Island.
Sure. Well, as you said, with my family, we grew up with giving back. Just be grateful for what you have. Very close to each other. We loved our community. And when my mother was early 60s, she came down with Alzheimer's. So we took care of her, my family and I, my siblings, my father and I. And after that, after she passed, I thought, something has to be, I have to do something with this, because it was such lessons in life, very hard lessons. So I got involved with the Long Island Alzheimer's and Dementia Center. So I became their director of fundraising and community outreach. And it was wonderful years there. Taught me a lot, helped me get through my grief of losing my mother. And in the meantime, during that time, that's where I met Carol Waldman. She was the director of the senior center. So we would do programs in different senior centers and assisted livings for dementia training and for things for caregivers or aides. So we did some training at the senior center.
So was she eyeballing you for the possibility of?
Towards the end, when she started to think that she was going to retire, she asked me out to lunch, and then she told me about it. She said, "I'd like you to do it." And I said, "I can't do that." I said, and thank God she had the confidence in me, and it really has been one of the greatest gifts that I've ever been given, is to be able to spend my day with all of my seniors and in this community. I spend the majority of my day and nights here in Glen Cove. Everyone says you have to live here, but my grandchild and my children are there.
There were times we're on the phone while you're, on your commute and on speakerphone. That's
yes, which I don't mind. It's not far, but I love this community. I've really grown to love it. The people here, it's so close. Everybody really takes care of each other, and being here at the center, it's just taught me so much. And I agree, our membership has grown immensely. COVID was very difficult for the seniors. We kept in touch with them. We delivered meals for them. We had online classes. We had online coffee clutches, so that every day my staff, they would still have their hours of working. They would be calling people just to check in with them, to make sure they're okay. And unfortunately, we had some deaths during that time, but then as we came back, we realized that we were getting many more seniors at younger ages.
Sure.
I think a lot of them may have retired during COVID and then realized, they still wanted to be active and wanted to do things. And we had really tried to push more advocacy for how important the senior center is. We offer the social service help. We've got exercise, hot meal every day. All of it. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. Line dancing.
I've done that line dancing.
Got sewing classes. Yes, you were very good. You always dance with the ladies. Yes. So it's a lot of fun.
Right.
It's really a lot of fun, and it's a great resource, because it's not only for Glen Cove. It's for any senior 60 years of age or older living in Nassau County.
Right. And I will say, I kind of made a big deal. I think it was on my 60th birthday, I made sure that I joined the center.
Oh, yes, you did. You filled out your application.
I made sure I joined the center. And I think, it was a great day. It was a great day. Kind of accolades to Carol Waldman. I think the whole idea that I had a friend tell me many years ago that the minute you are head of an organization, whether it's president or executive director, whatever those things, that you keep an eye out for who your replacement is. And I think that's important. I think, it's one thing to lead something in a way that you do a great job, but to lead something in a way that you do a great job and you put a foundation in place and look to the future. So it's not about you.
Right. It doesn't have to, it has nothing to do with you.
Serving.
Yes.
And, that's, again, that is just so Carol Waldman through and through.
She was there for a very long time and taught me a lot. Still to this day, I still call her.
Yeah.
I said, I know you think you're retired, but I'm still calling you.
And what a great fit for us and for the Glen Cove Senior Center when you were able to take that position and move it forward. I will say part of that for me, and I think part of the, my mother was the head of nursing of the largest health department in the very poorest county in North Carolina.
Wow.
So her heart, and she became a nurse because she had worked, she took care of an aunt who was dying of cancer.
Okay.
And not unlike her grieving, her way of grieving was putting energy into trying to serve others. And that's how she came into being into nursing. And I think oftentimes that's what happens. But you're very different from my mother in many ways. But to me, the key of a really good administrator is, someone who does the book work and I know there is a lot. I've been in government. I know there's a lot at the Glen Cove Senior Center. But as I've heard you say, oftentimes that happens in the evening when the day is done, because on an ongoing basis, especially with an aging population, you have to respond.
Yes. You have to be connected with them during the day. A lot of times, as you said, I don't get to emails till nighttime, which is fine with me because I prefer to be out in the dining room. I prefer to be helping people during that time instead of just sitting behind the computer. And it really, the challenges for seniors are the same challenges that we have all throughout our life.
Right.
They don't change just because they're older. They don't become less. They don't become less of a worry. If anything, they become more of a worry. People worry more about how they're going to take care of themselves, who might be able to take care of them. And this is just a way for people, after they've either lost loved ones or their children live in different states, to feel like there is a community. You know, a lot of them say this is their second family. A lot of them have best friends their whole life, and they say, but these are my new best friends. So it's really just giving people a reason to get up and get out and connect with people, and also to still share their talents and their wisdom with people. We do a lot of intergenerational programming, which is what I really, truly love, because I think there is so much that the seniors can teach young individuals.
Oh, I agree.
They love spending time with each other. It's
Yeah,
great
and
to see.
who was, I know she's no longer at the center, but I saw her at the 5th Battalion Parade, a young woman who had the spiky hair and it was always
Was a volunteer?
Yeah, I think she was, she worked, no, she helped with organizing events and stuff.
Oh, are you talking about Natasha?
Natasha,
Oh,
yes, I
she
saw
moved
that.
away, unfortunately, but
Yes.
she came back to visit.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, came back with her two children.
Here's what I
Yes.
love. You know, these prim and what I think of, at least in what their appearance, you know, prim and proper, little old, nice and tidy little ladies, and here's the spiky colored hair and the, you know, that, you know, at first glance you might think these two don't go together,
Oh, but
but these two
love it.
so go together.
Yes.
So go together. And, you know, it's so
Yes.
easy. You know, I think it's human nature. You know, you grew up one way and this is the way it was. And, oh my gosh, you know, these crazy ideas with tattoos and piercings. But nothing matters when you connect one-on-one and you realize, you know what, there were fads when I was young. They're fads now. You know, there are different ways that we express.
Yes.
And, you know, especially, you know, I'm like, you know, dyeing one's hair of funky color. I think that way of expressing, more of that, less of the other.
Yes.
More of that in this wild and wonderful
it brings
world.
the seniors back to their memories of when they were younger.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
the things that
yeah.
they did. As you said, it's very different now. But we have so many young volunteers that come in
Right.
now, and we just had a junior who came in, a young man, absolutely wonderful on his own. He volunteered for like 2 months of his free time, and just loved it. Said he would come back. Every single one comes in kind of a little nervous. The majority of them, I have to say, this day and age, still have grandparents alive. So, you know, when they come in to volunteer, we ask, do you have any experience with, you know, spending time with seniors? And the majority of them say yes. So they've already been around seniors, but they really end up saying, that was the most fun I've ever had. They end up laughing, playing games with them. It's really, I think it's really important in this world to be able to give back and be able to be comfortable with, no matter what age, no matter what person it is, there's always something that you can learn from somebody.
Yeah, I could not
Or make somebody feel good.
I could not agree more. Could not agree more. I will tell you, Christine, this has been a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for
thank
being
you.
on Many Voices, One Community.
Thank you. It's been a privilege.
I love the fact that you represent many communities and that we all do pull together. And when we do find that common thread and find that opportunity to lift people up and empower the good, we're making a difference. And thank you for making a difference.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that's it for One Voice, Many Community, or Many Voices, One Community. Please look for our other podcasts on HMTV, and that's HMTV at HMTC. It has been terrific. Thank you for joining us, and join us for the next one. Thank you.